I want to look at an article which has appeared in the Financial Times this morning, and it seems very, very relevant. It deals with the pressing issue of smugglers and small boats transporting migrants across the English Channel, and Keir Starmer's potential strategies to address this multifaceted problem while adding some sort of insight of my own. I hope the UK's struggle with illegal immigration via the small boats has been contentious, particularly under the Conservative government, where there was an opportunity for the small boats problem to become a focus of xenophobic and racist rhetoric. Despite bold promises from the Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, to stop the boats, and even the drastic measure of proposing to send asylum seekers to Rwanda, the efforts to curb the smugglers' traffic has largely fallen short of any Conservative objectives, and it's now in the hands of the Labour Party. As highlighted by the Financial Times, the UK has seen a significant increase in non-EU migration, which complicates the issue further, particularly in the absence of the Dublin III Protocol, which was jettisoned by Lord Frost's negotiations with the EU following Brexit. Starmer's Labour Party has proposed pragmatic policies to tackle the asylum system. One significant step is the plan to hire 1,000 more caseworkers to expedite the processing of over 80,000 pending asylum cases. This is important, and it may change the regimen of the Home Office following Theresa May's dictate of a hostile environment so many years ago, which of course was interpreted as a go slow and indolence. This move is crucial in addressing the backlog that has plagued the system and fueled public frustration. And by reducing the use of expensive hotels owned by sort of twits who are getting rich at our expense, people like Graham King, who runs a thing called the Clear Springs Ready Homes, but others, and by reducing the use, our reliance on these hotels, and even if there are long contracts still to honour, then the hotels can be given over to homeless people, and we're doing something useful with that as well. Labour aims to alleviate the financial burden and the social tensions associated with housing asylum seekers in often deprived communities, and that's absolutely right. It's the right way forward. While these measures are commendable, they require meticulous execution and sustained commitment and the support of the community. The government's ability to streamline the asylum process effectively will be a litmus test of its competence. It's not about rhetoric anymore, it's about delivery. And addressing the root causes driving migrants to risk their lives crossing the channel, such as political instability and economic hardship in their home countries, should be a part, and will be a part, of the broader Labour strategy, but that will take much more time to effect. Labour's approach to legal migration is expected to benefit from pre-existing trends. Net migration figures, which peaked at 764,000 in 2022, are expected to decline significantly due to, for example, the recovery of the university system after the COVID pause. It also stricter visa regulations and economic conditions. This decline offers Starmer a window of opportunity to reshape the narrative about migration without having to resort to populist targets that will prove, as with Rishi Sunak, unattainable. However, Starmer must navigate the landscape with transparency and honesty, and the UK's reliance on migrant labour, especially in state-funded sectors such as healthcare, underscores the complex interplay between migration policies and economic needs. There are over 130,000 vacancies in the care sector, and we have to address this gap. It requires a nuanced approach that will balance domestic training with the realities of an ageing population and the immediate need for skilled workers. Where can they come from? We can't train them up that fast. They need to come from abroad. That needs to be a drive to employing a migrant task force. One of the most significant challenges for Starmer, and employing them fairly, if the Labour Party is to be taken credibly, we can't be exploiting this person and promoting that person simply because of where they come from. We need to respect the fact they are doing a job. And one of the significant challenges will be to articulate a credible and hopeful message about the role of migration in supporting the British economy. As the Financial Times points out, setting arbitrary targets for net migration has historically led to broken promises and disillusion. Instead, Starmer should focus on a narrative that emphasises the positive contributions of migrants while addressing legitimate public concerns about integration and social cohesion. His administration should also engage in public education campaigns to combat the demonisation of migrants, which has been exacerbated by the inflammatory rhetoric of the far right and indeed of former ministers in the Conservative Party, people like Suella Braverman. Unpicking and undoing the damage that she did will take the lifetime of this present Parliament. Whether you support the Labour Party or whether you support the Conservative Party or another party, you have to recognise that you have to factor in undoing the damage of the past. Because that damage is no Conservative rhetoric that I've ever heard before, except perhaps from Enoch Powell. And he was thrown out of the party for it. Building a more inclusive and informed public discourse around migration can help to mitigate the backlash against asylum seekers and immigrants. I think, in addition, we should be setting up consular facilities on the northern shores of France so that people can begin their applications outside the UK so they don't actually have to go across the Channel. That Channel crossing is at our invitation. And we will provide boats or transport. Keir Starmer faces... That's not in the Financial Times, by the way, that's me. Keir Starmer faces a complex and politically charged challenge in dealing with the smugglers and the small boats. By implementing pragmatic reforms to the asylum system, leveraging existing trends in legal migration, crafting a credible narrative about the positive role of migrants, Starmer can navigate this issue more effectively. However, success will require sustained effort, transparency, and a commitment to addressing both the symptoms and the root causes of migration. And I think he needs to do something. He really needs to do something with the next wave of migrants who are going to be crossing the Channel. And even setting up better policing and better integration with the French authorities is not going to automatically stop those people coming across the Channel. The only way to do that, and what is not being promoted or suggested, is to set up consulates in northern France. And I think it's a solution to migration across Europe. I think setting up consulates in northern Libya, setting up consulates in Turkey, would be a way to stop people taking that dramatic journey across the Mediterranean as well. If it's not necessary, it won't happen, no matter how much the traffickers and the smugglers encourage it for their own pocket. And we need to reflect on the strategies which have been in place and the strategies which are now proposed. It's imperative to remember that migration is a multifaceted issue that cannot be resolved with a simplistic solution. It requires a holistic approach that balances security, economic need, humanitarian responsibility, craft. And Keir Starmer has an opportunity to reset the system and to set a new course for the UK that is pragmatic and compassionate. He has an opportunity to change the way things are done. I hope he takes it.